What is going on, guys? Welcome back to your Lake Fork Guide. Hey, today we've come all the way out to Lake of the Pines. Two reasons. One, it's an awesome bass fishing lake, but today we're going out to test the 7-pound versus 17-pound test challenge. We're going to find out how much line size difference makes in typical East Texas waters. We brought him back. Second week in a row, popular demand or something. I hope you get popular demand. We're actually filming this before the last one aired, so I hope they like you because you're back again. Whether they do or not, I like you. David Ozio, my man. Now, we brought you. You had to be a part of this. This is actually your idea. You're a light line guy.
Well, we've over time, I have found that lighter line in certain situations is always better, and so my goal was here was to do some experimenting here with dirtier water, clearer water situations to see if this light line really showed itself out. And a little video we shot last week, I secretly used a lighter line, he used heavier line, and it basically was a one-to-one trade-off. So in the dirtier water, it didn't make any sense. So here we're going to see if there's a difference.
Last week's water was definitely dirtier than your average East Texas water, but today we're on Lake of the Pines. We're down here on pretty close to the far south end of the lake, down on the main lake. And you know, Lake of the Pines is great on the north end. It's got some awesome stuff to fish, but we specifically came down here to get some of that cleaner water, get some offshore structure, and kind of test this theory about lighter line and see what happens. So that's what we're going to do. We're both going to throw a shaky head. Shaky head with a plastic worm, 6 cents Divine shaky head worm on it. Same size. I'm going to throw 17-pound line. He's going to throw 7-pound line, and we're going to go see who gets more bites, who gets bigger bites, who can land them better. But we're going to take you to typical East Texas water clarity, which Lake of the Pines is not the clearest lake in the world. It's pretty typical East Texas water for the most part, but we're going to find out basically across most of the south. This is generally what the watercolor you'll find. We're going to find out today if that line size makes a difference.
So we're gonna have to set some rules up here. What are we gonna do? First one to 7 fish wins. We got to have a parameter here to work
first one till the camera turns off.
To see who can catch the most.
Whoever, yeah. I mean, we'll get to analyze it all at the end, right?
Yeah,
we'll see who catches most, who catches biggest, who lands a higher percentage. We'll get to break down all that stuff for you guys at the end. So this should be an interesting one and very educational, especially if you're a tournament fisherman who needs to get more bites and needs to get your bites in the boat. There's going to be some good info in today's video, so y'all stay tuned. He hit it. I don't know if he ate it or not. Can't feel my bait. I think he's got it. He got it.
Where's the scissors?
Where's the scissors?
Where's the scissors?
What'd you say? I hate to hurt you this early, Dave.
Where's the scissors?
All right. Oh, excuse me. Hey, no giant by any means, but that's number one. That's 1 for 20 pounds.
1 to nothing.
1 for 20 pound right there. Just pulled up to an old road bed here. Got a little old, kind of like something similar to what we talked about last week, a little bit early in the morning, these stop sign type areas in the fall. This is, you know, halfway back into a creek right here. It's got a road bed running across it. Just a real kind of a pinch point, funnel point of the creek, and just a really good typical stop sign type area. So see how many we can get.
Here's what they would normally be.
There we go.
Yeah, I seen that line jump.
Fat one ate it, boy.
I saw that one jump.
Yeah, I'm about to say throwing that line right there. There you go. Boy, he just did he want that, Dave?
Not up on top of the road.
Did he want that shaky head up there?
He want that shaky head.
He wanted all 20 pounds worth, didn't he? Or 17 pounds, 17. He wanted all 17 pounds worth of that shaky head right there. Little short fat one right there. Boy, that sucker's been feeding on some shad. That's 2, Dave.
Now, is that more shad on the left-hand side of the screen there?
On the left, yeah. And that's right underneath the trolling motor. Like right underneath. See, we're sitting kind of off the right side of the road right now.
All right. We're on the board. 2 to 1.
2 to 1. I've had 2 other bites.
You've had, yeah, but wait a minute.
Don't even play. You know they were bites.
What?
Don't even do that to me, Dave. You know darn good well they were bites.
Yeah, no, you better be careful with this guy. You really do. You really gotta be careful.
Well, there's no doubt. You do got to be careful with me.
You gotta be.
But those were 2 bites. I just swung and missed on.
You ever heard of the thing called guide bites?
Oh my goodness. That you want? Giant.
All right.
Giant.
It is officially 2-2.
I'll take my 2 over your 2 though.
That's all right. That's all right.
So will the Weighmaster, by the way.
It's a good guide spot.
What? Man, that's your own fault for bringing that light line and breaking off. That's part of the...
Didn't he set the rule here a little earlier, folks?
No, I said we had to start at the same time.
Oh.
Look, bro, part of fishing with light line is you're going to break off when you get hung up.
I thought we had to be...
Hey, that's part of the advantage I have with big line. So that's 3-2, baby. Let's go.
Oh, man.
Let's go.
Stop Biden.
You know, it's a long walk home from here, Dave.
And throw back up, because a lot of times they gang up.
There we go.
They gang up right on.
That's a little better one.
Oh,
That's a real one, Dave.
oh, that's a real fish.
That's why you throw 20-pound line, too.
Where's them scissors? Give me
Oh,
them scissors.
that's a real one,
You
Dave.
gonna make me get that, are you?
That's a real one, Dave. Let's freaking go.
No.
Spotlight.
He ain't got my bill yet for guiding today.
Stop, baby.
6 pounder?
Oh yeah, for sure. That's a good one. Old big head right there. And even though they ain't over, light line might prove to get more bites. One thing that I talk about, and the reason that I love throwing bigger line, is you guys saw the way I fought that fish.
Yep.
I got that fish to the boat before he had a chance to really have anything to say about it. I mean, just quick as you please, boat flip him, no net needed. Let's get him in here, put him in a live well on tournament day, and then watch how your buddies cry when you pull him in a bag. Huh? You know what I'm saying, Oz? You know what I'm saying, Oz. That you want? Boy, big money.
Broke it when I went to swing him. Broke it when I went to swing him. Can't swing 7-pound line.
Even on little ones.
Even on a little one.
If they get any teeth on it at all, it's done. It's good that you got a bite over here though, real quick. I just had one wrap it and not hold it. Never mind, he held it. Pretty decent one too, not a baby. Get up here.
That's a decent one.
Solid chunk keeper in a tournament anyway. Oh, we almost got the hook in me. Stop it.
All right.
There we go. Lake of the Pines. Little baby chunk. 5 to 2.5.
5 to 2.5.
We'll give you half credit on that one you broke off on the boat flip. Old Dave unfortunately got, right before I got that bite, Dave got the first bite on this one, and he went and set the hook on him and broke off on him. He's,
Just leaned into it. Gone.
yep,
Oh well.
broke off on the hook set, so I got to throw in there in his hole and snipe him again like I did last week.
That's all right. That's all right. I'll find him. You catch him.
Yeah,
Seems like it's been that way every time I think.
yeah,
Out with you.
yeah. You find him, I don't mind it.
I'll find him.
Hey, that works out just fine with me, Dave. I'll catch every one of them you find for me, Bubba.
You want to follow him.
spotted bass.
There's 2 of them following him too.
Cool.
Too big a ship. Here we go. 5-pounder right here. Oh, I'll let him have it too. He was swimming with it. Difference between me getting way more bites than you. There we go. See, he jumps in there and gets my fish.
That might be a good one. That might be a good one.
He jumps in here and gets my fish. I show him where it is. It's all
Dave, that's another big one. That's another showing up big one, Bubba.
Oh, you're gonna flip it.
You know I am. It's the only way I know. What's that song? That's the only way I know.
You making me sick.
Oh, golly, he's strong. So, boy, he's mad. Get on up here, big girl. That's another big one,
Another
dude.
6-pounder.
That's another big one.
Now I'm sick.
Well, folks, Dave want to know how long we were going today. I think that's going to about do it right there. That's going to probably wrap it up.
Failure.
No. The man's in the Hall of Fame of his first
I'm not
profession.
accustomed to failure.
The man
Listen, you know what? Second place is first loser.
show is today. You're the only loser today.
I'm a
Y'all by
loser.
yourself.
I'm a huge loser today.
Man, that's an awesome fish. That's another great, boy. Lake of the Ponds has got some, and we're really restricted just doing one thing, one little shaky head deal on different line sizes, but fished a couple different road beds today. But man, Ponds has got some awesome fish in it, doesn't it, Dave?
Yes, sir.
Some great
Coming
fish.
here for a
in
long
there.
time.
Yeah. Well, it's been a fine fall day out here on one of the more beautiful lakes you'll find in East Texas. Lake of the Ponds is somewhat breathtakingly beautiful. Big, tall pine trees behind the pine curtain, so to speak. Just an amazing fishery. Really one of the more peaceful fisheries you can come to if you're outside of ski boat season. You can go all over this lake. Not too many boats fishing it for the most part right now this time of year. Man, what an awesome day it was. I really enjoyed it. Could have enjoyed it anymore.
Yeah, it's a great pattern today. We focused on road beds, and my whole goal behind today was to have a 7 versus 17 pound line challenge. And I've been saying for a long time that lighter line always catches more fish. Well, in the last 2 times Billy and I have been on the water, that we have been in an environment where the water was quite stained. The outcome of the day wasn't favorable for wah. All right. I had a few less bites than Billy had, but my biggest challenge was landing these fish. That the bites that I did have broke off a couple. Hook sets were a problem, and I made some changes on a rod that maybe wasn't the best idea. I was really originally using a 4 to 10 line rated rod, and I switched to a 6 to 12 with this 7-pound line, and it was just a little bit too strong. So
I had to break off on the boat flip, had to break off on the hook set, so that's what led to that.
Yeah, and so he didn't have any problem at all today getting bites on this 17-pound fluorocarbon, which was an eye-opener that I thought that even still the lighter line would give the bait a better action. Now, this all being said, first time we ever used a shaky head for this plan. Most of the time I'm using a drop shot when we're using that lighter line, you know.
But I couldn't realistically throw a drop shot on a 17-pound line.
You couldn't have used a drop shot.
For it to be scientific and be have a constant in the experiment, we're really conducting a scientific experiment today. We wanted to have the constant that was the shaky head because we could both felt like we could throw a shaky head on that set.
And you know, it was a good experiment, and I actually learned a lot in the fact that, you know, when you get water that stained, that line size really doesn't make a huge difference. You know.
Well, and I would go one step further here and say that having lighter line in stained water is a disadvantage because there is a give take on both sides.
Right.
Light line in the right situations will get you more bites. That is, I agree with you. I'm not denying that. But your hookup ratios on certain techniques, your landing ratios on a lot of techniques, your break off percentage, like all that is a detriment to lighter line, and it's a plus to heavier line. So honestly, to me, fishing the lighter line in the more stained water that typically we kind of have most of the time in East Texas, most of our lakes have a stain to the water of some sorts. Maybe not quite a stain. Pines is a little bit dirtier than I expected today, but this is not an abnormal water color for East Texas. And I would say in that situation, having lighter line is actually a detriment to your ability to actually get the fish in the boat because you're not getting that many more bites, if any at all. and you got a lot better chance of sticking them and landing them and getting them to the boat with a bigger line.
Let's throw you some variables here. And the variables today we're basically, you know, around a cold front. A cold front blew in this morning, a real light one, but we're basically prior to a cold front, and the bigger fish did bite today as far as that goes. Now, we get 2 days behind a cold front. I would really have loved to seen,
Does the lighter line make the difference?
does the lighter line make the difference 2 days after a cold front? As we spoke about earlier this week in some prior videos, is that when you get into a tough bite situation, I always throttle back the light line, and as we were at this lake 3 days ago, that actually worked in the morning. The lighter line got more bites early, but then as the sun came up, water started to warm, then he started catching them on the 17-pound line and on a jig, you know, so, and on a crankbait, you know, so the variables, understanding the variables are a huge deal to make you a better fisherman. And, you know, hopefully the stuff that we trial and error out here and do can help you to comprehend that a little better and help you make decisions on days that you're really struggling and you want to put more fish in a boat.
One of the variables to understand today is it's noon.
Yeah, it's noon right now.
We fished from about 9 o'clock, maybe 8:30. I think it was about 9 o'clock when we actually got started fishing. We fished from about 9 o'clock till noon. So we didn't catch just a terrible, you know, a huge amount of fish on Lake of the Pines today. We only fished 2 road beds. But bear in mind, folks, we only fished for about 3 hours.
Exactly.
So the bite on Lake of the Pines is actually pretty darn good. My buddy Zach Watts was actually out here yesterday, and he caught 40. Fishing a different style of fishing with, but he caught 40. And I have no doubt if we would have come out here first light like tournament hours and gone 7 to 3, we could have caught 25, 30, maybe 40.
Exactly.
And as you saw by the size of fish we were catching, we would have had a really big tournament bag if we stayed on that pace throughout the day.
And as I told Billy earlier this morning, I think that even the bite would be even better today.
Later.
2 o'clock to 4 o'clock window, and I think we really could.
Well, there's a problem with that, Dave. There's a problem with that.
I think I know what you're going to say.
There's a problem with that. We drive through Gilmer, Texas to get to Lake of the Pines from Lake Fork. And the best Mexican food in all of East Texas, in this fat boy's opinion, is in Gilmer, Texas at La Finca. So when it got to be about noon, I was looking at old Dave like, man, I think we got enough on camera, dog.
We got to go to the Mexican
We're about to go eat Mexican food. I'm about to go embarrass myself by how much I eat. Like, they're going to need to bring the whole pitcher of green sauce out with them chips, dude. I'm just telling you right now. That's what's about to
The bottom
go down.
line today is he roasted me on the 17-pound line, and I'm okay with that. It was a good thing. Maybe it helps you guys to make better decisions in similar environments, you know, so always be cognizant of barometric pressure. Right after cold fronts, you might be able to throttle back to that light line, get a few bites, but right before the cold front, man, there's no problem with throwing steel cable, as I told him he was throwing today.
You know, that's kind of always been something I've thought about when we're talking about line, right? Like especially fluorocarbon line. You know, the only time I want to fish braid is if I'm fishing around a bunch of heavy grass, because then I don't feel like seeing the braid doesn't really matter to the fish, because they're seeing grass stems everywhere they look anyway. If I'm fishing inside grass, braid doesn't really bother me fishing in. I don't think it bothers the fish. But the one thing I've always thought about fluorocarbon in any line size is fairly translucent, fairly hard to see in the water. But if a fish will bite an Alabama rig in clear water.
Exactly.
Like when they're feeding, it doesn't matter what line size you're throwing. And when you got bigger line size, the biggest line size you can get away with throwing that technique on, which I was pushing the envelope today with 17-pound fluorocarbon throwing a 1/4 ounce shaky head. That I do not recommend if you don't have experience.
That's right.
A lot of experience, because that was not easy to throw that bait around today, but we got it done. But the bigger the line size you have, then yes, your hookup ratio, your landing percentage is going to go up in stained water, or when they're just feeding, even in clear water. If they're feeding, they'll bite an Alabama rig with steel wires on it. They probably shouldn't have a problem in that situation with any size line you want to throw at them. But like David is saying, when they're not feeding, when the bite is tough, make no mistake, folks, I don't mean to contradict him or argue with him in any way, and I tell you, I 100% wholeheartedly agree that when the bite does get tougher, light line, A, they don't sense it as much, they can't see it as much, but B, there's a different action, a more finesse action that a light line puts on a bait that is very important when the bite's tough.
And I've used it many a times in all kinds of tournaments. Sam Rayburn, Toledo Bend, Fork, all these things, and it has come into play hugely under certain conditions. And so, you know, it's a game of variables, and we just have to deal with them, and that's where our benefit of getting to be on the water as much helps us to understand that and know when to make those adaptations.
For what we were throwing today, I was throwing a 6 cents Divine Shaky Head in a 1/4 ounce. We were both throwing every bite we got. We switched to a different color for a little while, didn't get any bites on it, but every bite we got today came on a Plum Flex 6 cents Divine Shaky Head worm in the 6.3 inch size. You can find both of those items at 6centsfishing.com. Punch in that code, Your Lake Fork Guide, on the checkout screen in the little promo box. You'll get a 10% discount on all orders as always. And the rod I was using today, which was stupid for what the bait I was throwing, but I was actually throwing a 7.3 heavy Century Series. One thing that's really cool about the Century Series line of rods with 6 Cents Fishing, they are the lightest, most sensitive blanks that I've ever used. But here's what's really cool. Because they are so light, I can take a 7.3 heavy rod and fish a 1/4 ounce shaky head on it. Because the rod's so light, it actually allows me to fish that lighter bait, but I've got the power of a 7.3 heavy, which is awesome when you need to boat flip a 6-pounder on Lake of the Pines.
Yeah, I don't know about the boat flipping 6-pounders, but I'd probably be using 16-pound Sniper FC with a medium heavy rod is what I would probably use for that exact environment. I was throwing a 5/16 shaky head today, a little bit heavier, and that's why he beat me so bad.
Dave, I really, really hope you don't ever want me to land your fish for it. Like, we only boat flip in this boat, dude.
You only boat flip?
It's boat flip. Hey, listen, some other people have come out talking about boat flips only, but if you look back into the years of footage on this channel, you will find out that we've been boat flipping only for a long time before anybody was saying it. We didn't talk about it, we just was being about it.
He did boat flip 2 6-pounders today. I got to give him credit, but he is the king of big fish. What am I going to say?
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I just got lucky.
You got lucky.
I got lucky. Okay. I got lucky. That's all.
I told him today he lives in a tree.
I don't even know what that means. He's old, y'all. Hey, David, brother, thank you so much as always. It's always a great time with David, man. Y'all go check us out at YourLakeForkGuide.com. Get on a boat with me. Get on a boat with this guy or one of the many other guides that we work with over at YourLakeForkGuide.com. We would love to show you guys a great time on Lake Fork, Lake of the Pines, these power plant lakes around here. I mean, we fish a lot of them around here. So any kind of fishing adventure that you want to go to, call us. Let you know what your wants, needs, desires are for your guide trip, and we will set you up. That is what we do. That is why we are called Your Lake Fork Guide, because we're going to set the trip up for your needs with the guy that suits you best, the lake that suits you best around here, and we're going to go get after them, and we will guarantee you that you're going to have more fun with us than you will just about anybody else.
You can follow me anytime on Facebook at David Oziel, Lake Fork Guide, or on Instagram. I post regularly.
He catches a lot of fish with his light line. A lot of them. Hey, man, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next time right here.
Your Lake Fork Guide.
I'm hungry.
You're hungry. Let's go.
Fat boy's got to eat, Dave. Let's go.